Chapter 3, 3 p.m. UTC-6, 10 p.m. UTC+1. Pain dulled my vision and confused my mind. Someone moved by my side. "Jeremy, is that you?" I managed to mumble. "But no, it can't be. He stayed at the prefecture." "There you go again about Jeremy," said the person beside me. His back was turned toward me. "Who is that, anyway?" My thinking was fuzzy. "Jeremy, a man I just saw a few minutes ago in Paris, a police investigator." I heard a soft whistle. "Wow, that head injury is doing some weird stuff." The person turned toward me again, and a face came into focus. "Sorry to disappoint you, Kyle, but I'm Sean, the paramedic who brought you to the hospital in Swift Current. We're in a room in the emergency ward." I took that information in. Suddenly my eyes opened wide. I lifted my torso from the stretcher with my elbows and called out, "What's the time? What's the date? I need to know." "Easy now," soothed the paramedic. He pointed to a clock in the room. 3:02 p.m., Friday, January 2nd. I lay down again and rubbed my hands over my face. "I'm back at the beginning, a couple of hours after I was hurt, now in the 3 o'clock hour. Is this real? Is any of that other stuff real?" The quickened pulse of my heart throbbed painfully in the bump on my forehead. An emergency ward doctor, thin and gray-haired, entered the room to consult with the 2 ambulance attendants. They reported their assessment about my condition, the details of the injury, and the actions they had taken. "He's fixated on the time and date," said Sean in a low voice, which I heard. "Plus, he thinks he was just talking to someone in France named Jeremy. Definite brain function concern." No kidding. The paramedics turned back toward me. "Take care of yourself," said Sean. "Hope it all works out for you." I nodded a thank you, but no words came at the moment. With a nurse's assistance, the doctor examined me thoroughly. It all took some time, and I was conscious of time. "What's going to happen at 4 p.m.? When the clock read 3:37 p.m., the doctor addressed me. "Mr. Stone, we're going to admit you. It's likely you have sustained a concussion. I've ordered a CT scan. After that, you'll be taken to a regular ward." Only a few minutes had passed when an orderly came and wheeled my stretcher out of emergency and on toward radiology. I couldn't help but watch every clock we passed. I even asked the orderly twice for the time. So when we arrived in radiology, I knew it was 3:53 p.m. "Room will be busy for a few more minutes," reported the orderly. "Then it will be your turn." I could do nothing but wait. "Wrong," came an inner coaxing. So in some desperation I followed the advice I'd given, or would give, myself twice, and prayed. I whispered a Bible verse, "Cast all your cares on Him, because He cares for you." My breathing and heart rate slowed as I spoke my inner reality to my Creator. 3:59 came and ticked away. My foot slid forward at the end of a step. A museum display in front of me detailed the wartime actions of one local soldier. I looked at my phone. 3 p.m., Saturday, January 3rd. Another day skip. The exhibit no longer held my interest. I turned toward a bench in the middle of the gallery and went to sit, quietly. I felt a kind of hole inside. My emotions were sliding into something dark, deep, and deadening. I didn't care. Time passed. I watched other people mill around the museum, rose to examine a piece of weaponry which managed to get my attention, then sat again. My phone buzzed with an incoming text. "Tyler." I read, "Hey Kyle, how's it going? Want to go to Medicine Hat tonight to watch the Broncos beat up on the Tigers?" I remember hearing I went to that game. I texted back, "Yeah, sure, sounds good." Totally unenthused. A return text buzzed moments later. "Okay, I'll pick you up at your place, 6 o'clock sharp. Jordan's coming too." 3:26 p.m. My head ached slightly around the injury. Without a conscious decision, I exited the building, entered my car, and drove to a nearby coffee shop. I entered and ordered. Double cream, 1 sugar, biggest cup. 3:38 p.m. I sat, numb, blank. Another text signaled its arrival. It came from Dan, my boss. "Oh yeah, I texted him last hour, 7 hours ago. Haha." Even my wry sense of humor seemed lifeless. Dan's message answered my question about whether I needed to be at work on Monday. "Glad to hear you're okay. Don't worry about work. Take the week off. That's an order. Well, that's good, because apparently I've flown to Toronto on Monday. Europe too. I kept watching and sipping coffee. I felt no anger, no frustration. I didn't feel anything other than the sense that I was spiraling downward and might never come up. 3:46 p.m. 3:49 p.m. 3:57 p.m. 3:59 p.m. I half sat, half lay on my couch. My head felt completely headache-free, unlike what I'd just experienced the day before / the hour before. My phone told me the time and date, 3 p.m., Sunday, January 4th. Again, no frustration surfaced, no anger erupted, nothing. Defeated by day skips I couldn't understand or control. The Cincinnati-Indianapolis playoff football game had reached well into the fourth quarter, with the Colts leading by 16 points. The commentators mentioned how the Cincinnati team hadn't won a playoff game since 1990. I share in their futility, I commented blandly. Yet there was no panic, no desperation, just the notion that my inner self was being crippled. The wind rattled the balcony door. The game ended at 3:20, 26-10 for Indianapolis. No surprise there. I watched the post-game show for a few minutes, but grew bored and started channel surfing. The screen flicked through snatches of movies, documentaries, comedies, oldies. Maybe someone is channel surfing through my life. That would explain why no day ever gets finished. The next playoff football game, Dallas Cowboys versus Detroit Lions, began at 3:40. No point in watching, I concluded. I know Dallas will win 24-20. I surfed again. At 3:50 I grew tired of it and clicked off the TV. Stared out the window, immobile, uncaring, not checking the time. I wasn't surprised by the day skip. It brought me back to Toronto's airport on Monday, sitting in the concourse near gate E75. Oddly, I noticed the airport's impressive architecture for the first time. But it meant nothing, just a factual observation. Nothing meant anything. How can anything be meaningful when you are so powerless? I looked at the boarding pass for my next flight. Departure was at 4:40 p.m. Eastern Time, about half an hour away. I knew I had come to this spot in the last hour, 7 experienced hours ago, I muttered, intending to let the plane leave without me and then find a flight back to Regina, a way to take back my life. But now all the fire had disappeared from that intention. I considered my boarding pass again. Who paid for this ticket, I wondered. Taking my phone, I accessed my bank app. A password and 2 clicks later, I scanned through my credit card's activity records. There it was, a $1,400 purchase from Air Canada, made yesterday. So I bought the ticket. I spoke my conclusion. Well, might as well not waste my money. I'll go, maybe see some more sights. So I stood and advanced toward the agents waiting at gate E75. I presented my documentation. Thank you, Mr. Stone, the female agent said after completing the procedure. You can board immediately, but please note that departure will be slightly delayed. I joined the line of people waiting to enter the aircraft, eyes fixed drearily straight ahead. The aircraft was far larger than the one which brought me to Toronto, 9 seats across, arranged in 3 sets of 3. My seat was J42, situated just behind the wings, the middle seat of the right-hand trio. Another passenger already sat in the window seat. I stowed my carry-on bag and sat down. Time passed. I checked messages. At 4:45 p.m. the instructions came to fasten seatbelts. Air Canada Flight 872, Toronto to Frankfurt, will depart shortly, the voice on the PA system informed. Flight attendants moved up and down the aisles assisting passengers. I closed my eyes. Last chance to freak out and get removed from the plane. But no response met that thought. No action, no sense of urgency, no sense of fear, no nothing. Nothing except the emotional hole. The plane taxied to its assigned runway. At 4:58 p.m. the aircraft's wheels lifted off the pavement. I was headed for Europe. My eyes stared into a foggy washroom mirror to see cheeks and throat largely covered with shaving cream. Paris. My hotel room. I placed my palms down on the counter and leaned over, head bowed. Another day skip. It's probably just after 10 p.m. here in Paris, 3 back home, Tuesday the 6th. I remained in that posture for some time, teetering toward the dark pit which yawned under my spirit. The grace-giving God chose that low moment to let me know he hadn't forgotten me. How? With an impression, an image, wrapped in my own thought but not really of my own making. Remember when Elijah sank so low after the confrontation with the prophets of Baal? He slept and ate. You've slept, now eat. I looked up. Was that a flicker of life, of hope in my eye? I straightened, shaved, dressed, collected my waistpack, wallet, winter jacket. I slid on my boots. I exited the hotel room, took the elevator to ground level, and in another minute emerged onto the sidewalk outside the Hotel International Paris. The night air chilled me but felt reviving. The map in my mind showed the route exactly. I remembered that I'd passed, or would pass tomorrow, some restaurants and bars on the short walk from the nearest metro station. A right from the hotel door, another right with the bend of the alley, and on to the next street. There was no wish within me for the lively atmosphere I expected in the bars, so I headed to the nearest restaurant, La Chateaubriand. Though customers could be seen inside, the doors were locked. Closed at 10:30, I noted from the sign on the window. Just missed it. A few steps brought me to the next restaurant, Les Dauphins, and it's open. I entered and was shown to a table. One part of me still felt heavy and leaden. Another part of my spirit had risen. I admired the marble and glass interior of the restaurant. I examined the menu when it was presented to me. My heart sank again when I saw the prices. In another few minutes I ordered, then waited, listened to the background music, wondered how close I was to the rim of the pit. Time had ticked ever so close to 11 o'clock when the mustached and balding server appeared and walked toward me with my order. The day skip took me back to my hotel room, standing by the washroom door, facing the clock on the bedside table. 10 p.m., 3 p.m. at home. Must be Wednesday the 7th, the day I came back here from Place de la République. I mindlessly pulled at a lengthening rip in the old t-shirt I wore for night and saw the outline of faint, damp footprints ending just behind my feet. I'm on my way to bed. Just had a shower. My spirits were still low. I climbed into bed and switched on the TV to take my mind off the situation, but most channels broadcast coverage of the day's terrorist attack on the Charlie Hebdo offices. I quickly turned the TV off, not wishing to be reminded of the fact that somehow I was supposed to help in the investigation. For a while I checked social media and scanned my friends' comments on their activities. I wondered if I should add an update of my own, like, I'm in Paris and falling into depression. I switched off the light and felt glad for the comfort of darkness. But I lay unmoving, with eyes open. To my surprise, a solitary tear rolled from each eye to moisten the pillow. I felt sad for myself. I also felt sad that my thoughts mostly concerned my own predicament when such evil had been unleashed on the city around me. A prayer emerged more from my heart than from my mind. Point me toward higher things, despite whatever's happening to me. After that, I lay still, exhausted but more at peace. I felt sleep creeping up on me. Then I was sitting in the back compartment of a police cruiser, working its way through the streets of Paris. The young officer driving the car didn't say a word. I sensed the hole inside, the pit ready to swallow. But since the prayer on the hotel bed, I also felt a kind of separation from the darkness. Maybe. I watched Paris roll past the window. At 10:10 p.m., the car pulled into the one-way alley which led to the Hotel International and soon stopped in front of the red ground floor of the hotel. The policeman exited and opened the back door. 2 onlookers regarded me with some suspicion as I emerged. I walked briskly into the building. Elevator, room 35. The door closed behind me with a welcome click. I breathed a sigh of relief. That place was as much home as anything. Time for bed, I announced. Bedtime preparations. At 10:30, I turned the light off. Then I lay in the dark, eyes open, just like an hour ago/yesterday. The choice seemed clear. Give in, fall in the pit, let the hole consume me, or not. To choose despair seemed natural. After all, I hadn't asked for the day skips. I didn't want them. I couldn't control them. There was risk and danger in them, none of which, I knew, were beyond the reach of my God. I remembered the prayer I'd just prayed 1 hour/24 hours ago. I prayed it again. Lord, Point me toward higher things, despite whatever's happening to me. And with that my soul burst out with many more words as I made my choice. You are the God of time. You are the God who comforts me in my troubles. You are the God who leads. Lead me in this strange experience of time. Show me what you would have me do, to learn. I won't fight it anymore, and I don't want to fall into that pit of despair. Prayer words kept pouring out for a while. A deep breath, a sign of peace? I glanced at the clock, 10:54, and closed my eyes.